Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Joining me now is my colleague, fellow breaking news reporter, Derek Saul. Derek, thanks so much for coming on in.
Excited to be here.
I want to talk about WeWork, which just recently filed for bankruptcy earlier this week, and they took quite the plunge. In 2019, they had a valuation of $47 billion with a B. Today, that stands at less than $50 million with an M. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so I think, honestly, more than anything else, it's a classic story of a company that's burning through cash faster than they were making it. It's a more challenging environment for all companies relying on debt financing with higher interest rates now. We've seen the Federal Reserve raise the target interest rates from near zero in the early days of the pandemic to over 5%. And that specifically hurts commercial real estate market as well, which WeWork was obviously a part of. But before all of that happened, WeWork was losing billions of dollars when it first went public. And I think it's just a classic story of when you are a company that's cash flow negative, investors need to be really bought into your vision for being able to have pretty exponential growth, and people were not bought in.
Can you talk about that a little bit more? Because obviously work has been transformed since 2020, since the beginning of the pandemic, and this would seem like a perfect time for a company like WeWork to really sweep on in. That wasn't the case. So what were the problems with the company before the pandemic?
Yeah, so their founder, Adam Neumann, who is still a billionaire despite WeWork's demise, but I mean, this was very well documented. I think there's both Apple TV and Hulu shows on the rise of WeWork. But again, it was the cult-like personality of the founder who got a lot of people to buy into the concept that, you know, there could be this meteoric growth. And again, I mean, WeWork was just not able to capitalize. I mean, just, you know, sales were fairly flat and just losing lots of money because, as you saw with WeWork, they were, you know, capitalizing on it's almost like a spirit Halloween, where it's like, you know, you're capitalizing on these these retail spaces or office spaces that, you know, are not being used for whatever reason. And a lot of times in WeWork, I mean, think of how high rent in Midtown Manhattan is, and they were just unable to ever make a strong business model. But I mean, as we were talking before, it's funny because you would totally think that with office spaces closing, companies that are moving to hybrid and remote, that a WeWork-like company should emerge victorious.